Hello everyone, welcome back to the SliverStar Arcade and more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the last episode, whoa, we did a lot. We sure did a lot. Oh yeah, we're bringing Eggert Benedict back into the fray. 17th April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey defendants attaché chamber. Ah, Gina, how are you holding up? Cold as always. I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now. Jeannie, are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me? I'm sorry, I'm so bad at accents, and I'm probably doing her voice terribly. What? Well, you saw it? That picture? What picture? Ah, you mean this one. The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder. Well, I didn't think I would have to capture a scene like that. Like this, that's... Oh wait, that's ours. Like this, that's for sure. Ugh. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's going to think I did it, aren't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to court. Surely you got to have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Eh? Bruno's clearly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Come on, come on. Alright then. Finally! It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Huh. Cat's going ballistic. Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-in-1, to Winnie's Bank's place. I had to know. If Iris' story was there or not, the Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing, but if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something we don't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in the Ludwig Windy Bank for safekeeping. At least, that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windy Banks? I had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all that was going to kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick, and that's when... What do you think you're doing? I nearly died, I did. And the next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like... I don't know what. Also, listen to this music. Ah, you're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mental script. Have you got it here? Did Sholmes leave a load of papers? Oh, wait. Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon? The Hound or the something or other. If it's here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an Arco Blanc to one of my customers. I forgot how awesome this man was. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyways? I just want to say it's air, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it here or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door, and we both went inside. And it was there, alright. The mantle script. Sholmes weren't lying after all.
You did all of that just to check for me, Ginny?
Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out in the main Biddle shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene, yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in! Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me, sorry. I'd better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you and... Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom like he said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go out the storeroom myself when... I heard a couple of shots go off. 2, I think. Almost at the same time. And then there was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it as quick as you like. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windybank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. Figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. Windybank was a goner.
Man, and I really like that guy.
I felt funny in my head all of a sudden. Kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. That must be when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I've done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did. They didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me.
It'll be alright, Ginny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Runa's about to put the real culprit through the mill.
That cove what was there in the afternoon? That Eggert Benedict? Wow, his jaw is so sharp, it's cut in reality. Do you guys see that on your screen? You can kind of see it on your screen. I still remember how he looked at me like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You what?
You can leave it all in Runo's capable hands now, Ginny.
Mr. No Odo? Yes? How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGilded. We told you you were a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog trotter off with him, even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh, I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. I mean, can you really feel guilty? Like, you did your job, you got him a not guilty verdict, and then when we found out he was guilty, he died. Honestly, this seems like a win-win-win. You know, you got to win your first case, become a lawyer, and the guilty party still got some kind of punishment now. Now, obviously, he should have been in jail rather than a fiery end. I don't wish that upon anyone, really. That's an awful way to go, but in the grand scheme, win-win-win. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another kill off the hook for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Ryosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. Oh. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no good liar. You're not like McGilded. I know that. Eh?
That's right, you're our friend, Genie.
Ayos. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust.
Yes.
Oh, whoops, that was ours. That's really all we need to know.
Exactly.
Mr. Naruto, I... Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. I'd been both a defendant and a defendant lawyer in my time. So I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. Man, this is awesome! This is it at last. The final chapter. The final battle. Wish me luck, Susodo-san. And I hope you're watching over me too, partner. Aww. Man, these games always know how to hit you right in the feels. '17th April, 1:41 p.m., the Old Bailey Courtroom. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Von Zeeks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communications station where the man works immediately, my lord. Oh, whoops, I forgot I was voicing. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem.
Why can't I do his voice anymore? I just did it last night.
I see. Then let's turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's précis of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector.
Yes, I can only apologize, my lord.
And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom.
It's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A very big mistake.
See, in London, you don't have to worry about the London mob getting to you. You have to worry about a 10-year-old girl busting your kneecaps out. My lord, the subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. No, that was quick. Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Eggert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon. And certainly not like this. There he is. Still wearing the same suit. Thank you for complying with the court subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord. As an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now kindly state your name and occupation for the court. Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer.
Mr. Graydon and I both work at London's Central Communications Station.
Now perhaps someone would kindly explain what all this is about. You were apprised of the... Wait. Of a sacrificial lamb. Objection! You were appeased of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume?
Too many voices are similar. Man, I wish I had a bigger range when it came to doing voices.
Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place at pawnbrokers on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation.
Come on, I can do voices better than this.
That is the accusation indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Very well, without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. Gladly, my lord, gladly.
Hee. Witness testimony, the accusation.
Naturally, I have occasion to make use of a pawnbroking service from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into a place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation, even if certain parties have present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. That's it? That's all we have to go on? So, you deny the accusation completely, do you? I must say I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy.
Speak. Come on, speak. Why can't I say these words?
It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly! How long am I expected to be detained here? If, following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good, then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. It does not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. So, we meet again, Mr. Eggert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies, you are... Ryonosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so. Ashley Graydon, enchanté. So.
Woo! Free hat.
Oh, sorry, that was probably loud.
Free hat.
I trust we can conclude this quickly.
But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do so. Can I wear it? Please let me wear it. There was a whole, like, bunch of things about how Naruhodo would wear a hat like that. Please let me wear it. The accusation. Naturally, I have accused you to make use of pawnbroking service from time to time. Press. Yes, we even met in the very pawnbrokery where the crime took place on the afternoon in the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Eggert Benedict, I believe. Tell me what your...
The witness is here to testify about the events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions.
Objection! I'm trying to get his voice right. You can't be serious.
Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question.
So he's going to be evasive, is he? In an effort to not give away anything. This could be tricky.
But,
Hold it!
yeah. Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Said by a man who introduced himself as Eggert Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? The young lawyer there in the black.
This is a farce.
Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Well, needless to say, I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these rapscallions. You're able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned...
Seriously, it's like there's something stuck at the bottom of my mouth.
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend. For you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. A silent victory wiggle. Thanks. Even if certain parties have claimed...
Hold it! Blood was found at the scene of the crime, there's no question of that. Mr. Sholmes' chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such.
But am I not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I?
How can you be sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants.
Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemical is able to...
Spare me the science lesson. Who is this Sholmes character anyway?
Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's a renowned detective.
So even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we?
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin?
Eh? What? Me?
No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you.
Right, I've had it up to here with this. How many times have I got to tell you?
Yes, I know, you're not Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin.
God blimey, governor. You what?
Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Would you care to share that thought with the court?
Me thoughts? I don't have none of them. It must be him.
You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke?
Nothing. Honest, governor, nothing. I was just thinking, if he waves his arm around like that much more, it'll open up the wound again, that's all.
What wound?
Well, he took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him, and... Oh, Elsbells.
Mr. Graydon, did you hear that?
What?
Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm.
My lord? Yes, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless intuitions.
We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow a court official to examine your arm, sir. The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand as if in pain.
No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obligated to permit any such invasion of my privacy. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all of this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense at the insinuation. I can't say that word. That I was in any way involved. You claim to have had nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery.
My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Graydon's formal testimony.
Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon.
The bottom line is I never had anything to do with the pawnbroker's establishment when the man was killed. I know, like, we are supposed to press everything, but... He's written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so he had to use anything he had on hand. It's hard to know what's... appears to have used back this...
Yeah, wouldn't it be this? Okay, I'm gonna save first, because I think this is the correct answer. Weird to think, like, this does not feel like the end of the game, but it very clearly is.
Objection!
Okay, that was incorrect. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. It's... Oh, wait, did we actually get that photo as evidence? I don't know if we got that photo as evidence. The one where it's a picture of him and... We did not. Okay, we're just gonna press this.
Hold it!
Never had anything to do with it. You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I am not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my study.
Objection!
No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right? Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, Inspector?
Eh? Come again, sunshine?
What the? Why did that voice come out? Come again, sunshine? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector, that afternoon?
Well, yes, I do remember me and yourself in the pawnbrokers that afternoon, sunshine.
Is that the voice I should be going for? I mean, that's closer to his actual voice, but I like the news reporter voice. Well, yes, I do remember me and yourself in the pawnbrokers that afternoon. You, your young Japanese assistant, and the accused were all present, as I recall. And at that time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article. Well now... I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly.
What? But you must.
I'm not going to lie and pretend I remember something I don't.
What's going on here? Gracie showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that Hurley installed in Windy Banks.
Yes, of course. Indeed, and the gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say.
I mean, yeah, he's wearing the exactly, which proves that Mr. Graydon was in the shop on the afternoon in question. Well, actually, it was in the morning.
At no point have I denied that fact. I merely entered the shop to peruse the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Nothing more.
This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might be trying to cover his tracks. But why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? That's all he's going to say on the matter, is it?
What do you think, Bruno?
I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself away.
The complete opposite of Hurley, then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better.
Well, at least I managed to prise a little more information from the witness's lips. All thanks to the Skulkin brothers.
Yes, they were the key to it after all.
So he says he had nothing to do with Windy Banks. Well, we know that's not true.
Perhaps now would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record.
Good idea. You never know, a tiny scrap of information could become a valuable weapon. Alright, yep. Let me check the court record. Hmm. Hmm.
Objection!
Oh, really? It was that simple? Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? This disc was, until the day of his murder, in pawn in Mr. Winniebank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared to try and take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course, wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there was a small smear of blood on the disc. Oh yes, resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny little bumps. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch. Good gracious, indeed it must! Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, well. It would seem I underestimated you. What was the meaning of this? So you admit it now. You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant. Order, order. Well, Mr. Graydon? It would appear there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple. You see, the disc was mine from the onset. Just as these jiggling dance moves are. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own out of pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish, though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. Witness testimony, again. The disc. There's a note on the disc saying, "For McGilded," but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGilded, you say? The famous London philanthropist? Who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder? Yes, my lord, the one and the same. Good lord, Mr. Graydon! Are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Hola. Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilded himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windy Banks.
It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming that the disc belongs to him then, isn't it?
In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windy Banks in order to get his hand on McGilded's disc for some reason. Man, if you read that too fast, you could. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please. The disc. There's no on the disc saying for McGilded, but the item belongs to me.
Hold it!
Would you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties, having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand, which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. You claim that was your overcoat? Obviously. In my haste, I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to switch over there. And yet there is a note. And yet there is a note on it that reads for McGilded. I am a collector of rare and unusual box music. I first met McGilded at a gentleman's club in the city and was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. So the disc in question, it's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in your pocket of the overcoat you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly.
Ginny didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she?
No, because McGilded had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury.
Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it?
Let's leave it alone for the time being. Wait, are we actually worried about that? Will Gina get dragged back into court for perjury? Huh. That actually puts us in a tight spot.
The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy garland, and they questioned me.
So you're saying that Mr. Strad lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right, despite being mindful of the danger when walking in salubrious areas of her kind frequent. Miss Lestrade did no such thing. Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. You came to the pawnbrokery that day prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windy Banks. To get your hands on Mr. McGilded's disc.
Objection!
My learned friend, it is a veritable font of nonsense. Nonsense? I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. Then I will continue with my testimony for what possible use it can be. I proceed at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article.
Hold it!
Had you ever been to Windy Banks before?
Only once, for the purpose of pawning something, but like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So when you notice that
It's happening again, my jaw.
It's so weird. I was just watching one of the old episodes where I mentioned my jaw was hurting, and now my jaw is hurting again. That's a weird coincidence. Also, I'm finally getting on track with uploading these things. In fact, the end of chapter 4 should be going up soon. Just to give you a idea. You know, the one that was recorded in November and will be uploaded in January. Just for a timeline of how long it takes me to get stuff done. But at least I had an excuse for those 2 months. I had a job. Now I kind of don't have an excuse. You chased after her, is that correct?
Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course.
Such is the art of the pick purse. But when I did, I handed it to the pawnbroker at once in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could.
I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place.
He can say what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police.
Hold it!
Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it?
That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has connections to Mr. McGilded as evidence.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Inspector?
Well,
What do you mean?
what do you mean? The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilded's possessions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine.
What is it, Inspector? Investigating secrets?
Yes, exactly. You should know all about that.
Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life, yet he had a dark side too.
Where are you going with this one, Zeeks?
I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they?
That's enough. Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just checking the back of the box to see what's listed in this game for its rating, just to make sure. Because when you say nefarious activities of a rich person, the mind can go very dark very quick, but only blood and violence are shown, so.
Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector.
The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're going to need Lord Strongheart's paw print first.
What's all this about?
It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Von Zeeks here.
Well, it would appear that the Inspector has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night.
Oh, shoot! I forgot to... McGill slipped the disc into his coat pocket and had to pause at Windybanks. Then, when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of the omnibus murder, he threatened Gina and forced her to take the redemption ticket. There's no doubt about it, the witnesses lying through his pearly white teeth were obviously after anything left behind by McGilda as well. That's why Inspector Grayson ended up taking the disc into custody that day. But Gregsy's being very strange about this. There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. For now, I need to focus on exposing the fact that Mr. Graydon is lying in his testimony. Let's go back to that last thing and press it.
Hold it!
But perhaps you'd seen something of value amongst the forfeited items? No, not at all. Oh. A valuer was brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every item on the shelf was common or garden bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilded's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that I had been seized by the police that afternoon. There's no more in the shop that night than I. As I keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in. So there was nothing Mr. McGilded's left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. I wonder if that's really true.
Bruno, if you have some evidence, then let him have it. I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble.
Okay. Let's take a look at what we have. One gentleman's coat. Okay. What do I catch him on? The redemption ticket was stolen from me on the day in question, and proceeded went to shopping. In other words, I have absolutely no reason to break into the shop that night.
Objection!
Nope. Alright, time to brute force this. See, that's the problem with recording everything at like 1 in the morning, is that your cognitive functions kind of dissipate. And so the best and most efficient way... Oh wait, never mind, it's this. I completely forgot about the box. I forgot there was a box. This disc was deposited at Windy Banks on Magnus McGilded's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself. Whoops.
Objection!
Objection! Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbroker again that night.
Objection!
Objection! Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in pawn at the Windy Banks, as this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Ugh. There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windy Banks pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, is it? What had the man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it.
there would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument.
So that means that for some reason, the Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection!
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Von Zieks? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windybank's pawnbrokery. And rest assured the prosecution can prove it.
What?
Good gracious. Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court if you please.
Yes, sir.
What prints?
These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras. Or at least red-handed recorders again.
As previously explained using this plan of the shop layout. The victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Windybank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed. Sorry. For sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, McGilded's small box had...
McGilded's small box had been forfeited already, 2 days before the incident, at 9 p.m. on 13th April to be precise, which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited items in the shop. Now, what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 p.m. on 15th April.
The victim certainly had a very full shop, it would appear.
And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident.
I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare. Though I must say that placing them side by side leaves me cold. Alright, time to go cross-eyed. Let's see if I can do it again. Okay, alright, almost, give me a second. Alright, this is difficult. Give me a second. Okay, I couldn't do it this time with my eyes, which is unfortunate. Like, I thought I almost had, but the only things that stand out are, of course, the only things in this photo that stand out, which is the red triangle and the horse. Though I must say that placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache.
Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we considered theft as one possible motive in the case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life.
So your men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector?
Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these 2 photographic prints. And the Yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both.
In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy.
I don't believe it. If I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGilded's pawned box.
Ooh, get down with it. I might have been able to break him down at last. Or at least... Wait, was that at last? Yeah.
You know what, Runo? I've been thinking. I wonder if these two photographs really are exactly the same.
What? So, counsel, in the light of evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that, in fact, on the 9th question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion?
I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographic prints? Point out, use a piece of evidence. Time to save. Point out a discrepancy. I wasn't sure at first, but there's a clear discrepancy between the two prints. What? You must identify the location in question for the court, counsel. Oh, shoot. Okay, time to go back to me trying to go cross-eyed. Great, now my eyes burn, so I'm just gonna have to guess.
Take that!
Obviously, the discrepancy is here.
Objection!
Is there no discrepancy? No, there must be. Alright, well, time to brute force this. Oh shoot, I see it! I see it! I didn't even have to cross my eyes. Here it is. It's this weird jar thing here. It's been moved. Like, significantly.
Take that!
Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. I'm a genius. What? Like, is that what when you view the two pictures stereoscopically? Okay, no, that's bull. That did not show up at all. The only thing that shows up is the color. A single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box. Like, that makes no sense. Alright, did they seriously expect people to go cross-eyed while playing this game? Because I got that by spotting the very small difference, right? This small box. Let me... Wait! Unbelievable! By Jove, you're right! How extraordinary! What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Windy Banks on the 9th question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilded is in fact, yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints?
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen. Which means, quite simply, that nothing has changed. That may be true, but alright, McGilded's box wasn't stolen then. But doesn't that fact that it was moved, like, that change things? changes everything, because something was in it. I believe this changes everything about the case.
How can that possibly be?
The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box.
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windy Banks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary.
Small little box belonged to a man who died 2 months ago. Can't possibly be relevant to this trial.
The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Von Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination.
The intense stare down. And hopefully, a good place to end the episode. Is there going to be continued? We should have a report within half an hour. Yeah, I'll stop the episode here because the episode did run long, and in the next episode we'll continue. So, as always, thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay safe, have fun, and have a great day.